Yes. Oh,
Oh, we missed all the spicy content. All the pre-roll.
Ah.
At least we've got it in audio form.
Yeah.
Can patch it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can do the cold open.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. How's it going?
I have a new microphone on the way from.
Ooh.
I did a microphone trade with a friend, and I thought it was going to be here. It's out for delivery, and I was excited, but it's not. So
Damn it.
you get
What'd
the
you
old
get?
mic for now. The old Shure SM7B.
Oh, yes. Classic podcasting choice.
Just really like how it sounds whenever I notice it. And yeah, wanted to try it. And he was like, oh, I'll trade you for this other one. It's like, oh, all right, it's a good deal.
Cool.
We'll find out.
Lovely. What's happening? It's our
We
2024
have nothing on our list.
wrap-up show.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Goals,
couple
ambitions,
comments.
plans.
Did you get any?
Nope. Did you? Done.
I got a couple. You just you lagged out real hard there. Did you get new internet?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
really?
Not that much. It's slightly better. It's slightly less
Well,
stable and slightly faster.
I
Yeah. It's not very exciting.
can't tell. I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
it's quicker.
I got a couple.
A very quick example of how much better the internet is.
Mhm.
Marginally better. Previously, when I plugged in my SSD with all my photos on it, external drive, and if I had Dropbox backing up that drive, it would pretty much render the internet useless for everyone here. Whereas now, I can have
wow.
that backup drive running. I can have that backup running to Dropbox simultaneously with work happening at the same time. Amazing.
Wow.
So yeah,
Lovely.
Lovely.
Was it like a bunch more cost?
don't know, a little bit more.
That's good.
Yeah. So do we have some
Yeah, we just haven't.
inputs
We have two.
too? Go
I
on.
was trying to remember. I think somebody messaged me something too. So it's going to be a lot of our thoughts
That's okay. It is our podcast. God damn it.
on here, or we can wait till the new year and talk about it.
No.
No,
I want to make plans now.
you're cutting out a lot. I can do something about this. I don't think so. We have any other options? Couple. I don't know. Do you have thoughts to start? You're good.
On the next on thoughts. Do I have thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been chatting to my
We just run out of thoughts altogether.
I've been chatting to my therapist all morning about
Oh, that's good.
the coming year.
Another good reason for me to be late, I guess.
We were both late. Come on. Yeah, no, I've got plans for next year, but I want to hear what other people are doing.
I did too. Yeah. I thought I had one other. I thought I had three, but we have two. We can start with those if we like.
So
the idea was- We were going to collect thoughts from everybody that wanted to send them in. And I believe these are both from the same person, which makes it worse. I don't know how to put this in now too. Damn. Let's try it.
We'll just cut it in in the edit.
Okay.
If it's all.
This is from Custodian at Debris Brooms.
Oh, the brooms.
Oh,
Nice.
shit. Wrong one. Maybe I can do it. Let's try this. Share.
Don't break it, just Dad.
Oh, it doesn't let me. It doesn't. It didn't work. We have an audio. He actually sent a video, which is cool.
Wow.
So I was going to play it. Replace. Open. I always wonder how people do this. They probably have producers.
Producers.
Window. There it is. All right. So here's this. You see it? It looks like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
worth playing.
Yeah, it's working.
It's from Debris Brims.
Can't hear it. You'll have to summarize it for me, and then we'll cut it in.
Well, what he said, because it didn't play over to Jim. What do you do with things that are too niche to sell, and where do cool tools go to die? Is what he wrote. What are you purging? What do you do with that type of equipment? Well, the first comment: just a grown man filling himself on the floor with plastic wonderland. I've got some gems of equipment in here that I'll never use again. What do you do with that type of equipment?
Ooh, yeah, okay. That's very pertinent to me today because we're doing our workshop clean. I don't want to call it a cleanup. We've got our lean day today. We haven't had a lean day in months.
You need shirts that are somebody leaning a little bit, on a pile of material.
It's not about
Lean
cleaning. It's about leading. God damn it.
Cleaning.
It's not a
You
cleaning
got
day.
lean that's italicized in the middle of it.
Oh, I like it. You're just you're a born graphic designer.
Well, GPT is.
Oh, look, this is a controversial topic. I have regrets about purging certain bits of kit out of the shop for the sake of floor space or efficiency, because I like to have all the toys available to be able to let them trigger ideas and be sitting there available as processes. And even if they only get used once a year,
Right.
I like to have them there. So I'm pretty crap at getting rid of disused kit.
Yeah, same.
Because it all just, it just says potential. I have potential.
Right.
Don't throw me away. Same as materials. So I think, my team would happily see me purge a whole lot of material, pallets of material out of the shop. And,
Did they say this?
oh, yeah.
Or is this your assumption?
No, they say
okay.
this. And I'm quite, I'm quite resistant to it. So there'll be a battle today on this topic of like, Jem, get your crap out of the racks. I'm like, no. Okay, maybe some of it, but not that. I need that.
I've got kitchen material that was never used in our very small storage rack.
Yeah.
My house.
So yeah, useless answer because I would just keep it all. But for the sake of efficiency, yeah, I don't know. I don't see, like for instance, today, creating efficiency is not, for me, it's not about clearing space and getting rid of stuff just because we don't use it very often. It's about making what we do have accessible and knowing what we've got. So someone who doesn't work here or have started there on their first day can walk into the shop and identify the hierarchy of our organizational structure and thought process and go, oh, I wonder where I find the cleaning supplies. Oh, they must be here because of but, or the sign that tells me where it is. Or like, it's about making the resources available and efficient to use, not just like cleaning and clearing floor space because that feels like a low-hanging fruit.
I guess I'd push back and say if I'm doing the Saunders thing, it's like every time you move it around or not use it, I guess, isn't it the same as the effect of, it's like an inverse benefit of having you gotten rid of it, I guess. Like you're continuing to waste the space. One of the worst ways I feel like I've thought about this that helps me get rid of stuff is to literally think about what's our per square foot cost a year. I don't know how to do what's a meter square foot cost, or do you do smaller than meters?
Meters.
Do you have a smaller unit than meters?
Square meter rate, yeah. Yeah.
Small centimeter. That's how we do ours. Figure out what that costs, and then you start to go, oh my God, I just paid $300 to keep that this year. And it starts to really hurt. And I'm just saying that because it helps me too, honestly, because I'm terrible. We are also planning to do the same and to get rid of some stuff, but also like in the case of, we have a old Creality 3D printer that we don't use, and before we had our birth, I was gonna give it away, and I still plan to. I asked for some people that wanted it and just never got it accomplished because of that, but I will hopefully by the end of the year here. Could sell it, I suppose. Selling stuff I feel like is slower often because you got to like wait for the buyer to come around. But if you can get rid of it fast by like giving it away, that's always more beneficial and makes it less of a pain point of like, well, this will disappear faster,
And okay, let's dive into that. Where does that printer currently live? Like, how is it obstructing you right now?
It is on the miter saw workbench that we never finished getting set up, and it collects stuff around it. So there's currently a bunch of other boxes and things because there's never been proper power run to it. So it's this kind of a chain of problems with that it's like because there's other crap there, then it like doesn't move forward as this usable thing, and the dust collection isn't hooked up. But really, I mean, we've moved the print. Now, this is my point to go back to it. It's like the traditional waste crap that's easy to point to of lean. I think that printer has moved at least half a dozen times from where it originally was used, and we knew we weren't going to use it again. Like, it just keeps moving around. I knew very likely we're not using this again, and we just keep moving it around. I guess you could point to a bunch of different things. And I suppose in a certain sense, unless you're definitively, as the business owner, like know that, oh, we will definitely use this and we can't find another one like it of this gear hobber for kit parts. Like, maybe it has to become unemotional and somebody else has to get rid of the stuff, or at least you only get a veto a quarter of something to get rid of, you know? And everybody else gets to like say, hey, no, we don't use this. And because, well, let's put it this way too. It's like, what if somebody on your team is like, well, I have all these other ideas, but we just don't have place for any of it to go. You know, like, what if you could expand your kit of parts line and they know that Gem doesn't want to get rid of it, and so they don't bring it up, and thus you're not expanding your product line.
I'll be picking up all my stuff and putting it in the dumpster if someone comes to me with that level of initiative. Absolutely. Like, give me that. I think that's part of my resistance is like where I've been burnt in the past is like, why did I bother taking all those tools home that you deemed unnecessary for the workshop, and then that space, I don't see that space being utilized. It's like, so now I'm frustrated because I don't have that bit of kit in the workshop for R&D, and I don't see that as a win, like in terms of, I don't feel like that space was ever capitalized on.
Is there something specific that you're thinking of?
A tool? Yeah.
Or like something that you want to keep that you think is really valuable?
No, there is a specific, like, the bit of kit that I'm sour about is a hydraulic press, a shop press, like a work shop press.
Yeah, how would it be hard to get rid of?
Yeah. And so it was removed, and fair enough too. Like it had been disassembled and serviced and never reassembled. And then we invested in getting the replacement parts from the hydraulic shop, and it was ready to go back together. And then at that point, it was deemed unnecessary, and I took it home. Didn't realize I'd be airing my grievances on the air. And then ever since then, I've regretted that. Like, damn it, I want that press. It'd be handy. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
That, I guess, with the Shapeoko a few times, but I haven't really...
still got that thing?
No, we sold it.
Yeah.
But I would say that for the large part of the things we've gotten rid of, there's very few things that have ever gone... I guess it's part of just... I tend to look forward pretty... I probably still have all the things that I feel too attached to and feel like we need, and haven't gotten rid of things that felt like we should have kept them. That's probably why I don't have that feeling much. But I mean, I'm only digging into yours because they're way easier than to dig into my own. It's, you know, we've got an entire, I'd say material is our biggest problem usually. We hang on to remnant material, especially stuff that we think can be reused. Ricky and I are both really astute on trying to, or not astute, but I guess dedicated or feel responsibility for trying to recycle everything that we can. So like the FedEx material, like he knows a place that we take stuff that they actually recycle it. They turn it into like benches or something like that, which is pretty rare. We recycle all the styrofoam that comes from stuff. I take that over to the west side. And so we pile up a lot of that stuff, and we definitely don't have a lot of space for it. And some of those things, like the HDPE for the dust boots, it's like we have hundreds of pounds of that stuff, of recyclable material, that there is a place in town that takes it. Hold up, my new microphone.
Quick, plug it in.
Quick, let's totally ruin our podcast.
I simply must record on my new mic.
I'd say the thing that I have the most odd feelings about, if we're just talking about, if we switch to maybe like things we could get rid of or change to improve, to be more useful to us, I went and we sold a larger jointer, a larger planer for wood, and a smaller jointer.
Yep.
Individual pieces. Then I bought a combo unit, which I think you have. And we've used that thing twice, maybe. And my friend Joe has come to use it once. It just sits there. It is more compact. It's less of investment than the other two tools. But I walk by it all the time. And I think 3D filament has been on it more than wood.
Yeah.
Like it, and I'm just like, what? In that same trip, I almost bought a larger metal cutoff saw, like a horizontal bandsaw, and didn't, because I was like, I shouldn't buy that. But we would have used the cutoff saw more, for sure. And it's half the price. And I sit here, I constantly think about that. I'm like, why did I? But then as soon as you get rid of it, this is the problem though, you get rid of the combo planer joiner, and it will immediately need it again. And you really can't replace those tools very easily. Like,
Yeah.
They're pretty tough to replicate.
I think an argument that's worth having with yourself, or let's start with yourself, is like, will it move the boat faster? Like, will this action of removing this enhance our production experience or make the business more effective or profitable? Or like, an example of something here, which is Laura, like, speaking of your recycling, like, Laura's collected all her plastic acetyl acrylic offcuts in a wheelie dumpster bin for years because there's no decent recycling streams for it here yet. And so she's collected this huge tub, like hundreds of kilos of offcuts in this bin, and it sits out in the car park. Has a bit of gaffer tape over the lid to stop the lid blowing open. Sometimes it blows open, fills up with rain, and sometimes new staff get confused and think it's a recycling bin and put it out on the street for pickup. And like, it's this thing that's sat around for years. And like, some people have commented on that of like, why do we hang on to that? And it's like, well, A, it's not really in the way of anything. It's just out in the car park. And B, at some point we'll be able to put those resources into a responsible recycling stream. Otherwise, they're just going to go in the bin now.
Right. That's exactly how we feel about it too.
So like, the easy lean win would be just to throw the whole thing in the dump and be done with that. Like, oh yeah, we cleared up a bit of extra stuff, but what effect does that actually have? Like, I don't feel like there's an argument that makes the business leaner by not having that bin out in the car park.
Right. It is really easy to argue the other side though, because it's the
so
unintended consequences.
Yeah.
It's the same as if you say no to jobs, right? You're saying no to jobs that aren't as good as they should be. They're not as profitable. They're too hard. The client is crap. Like, all those things. It's the same argument of like your opportunity cost. You don't know what you're missing, right?
Yeah.
What the opportunity was in the moment, because say your perfect production line of kit parts comes up on auction. You're like, we could get it, but we can't put it anywhere. Like you didn't have the opportunity because you've got, the other one we have is recycled filament, parts that are bad.
Oh, yeah.
We've separated them into PETG, PLA.
Awesome.
And that does have some recycling streams that we've looked into, but they're not, it's like, please send us, 1 billion kilograms at once, not 1 kilogram at a time. And you're like, okay, well, save it somewhere. I'm making the argument once again for myself because we're terrible about this too. I feel like where it's like, it feels like the good thing to do, but in reality, it's like lean hoarding or something, or like responsible hoarding.
But it kind of comes back to resourcefulness, right? Of like responsible use of resources and materials. Imagine a world where those materials are way more valuable than they are today. Like, absolutely, you'd hang on to all that stuff and send it out for reprocessing, or have your own, recycled filament extruder in-house, or whatever the solution might be down the track. Like, I think part of the issue is stuff is too cheap, and it's too cheap to dispose of stuff. Like, I don't know what your rates are like, but landfill tipping rates here are just like crazy cheap.
Yes.
Put whatever you want in the bin, and that makes it a very easy argument to just be like, let's just get rid of it. Forget about it. Like, when I was, I don't know, maybe 30 or something, late 20s, I was helping my parents clean up at home, and I found a garbage bag of my old soft toys from when I was a child. I had a lot of soft toys and teddies when I was a kid. Like, I had like 30 in my bed at all times. And then, so as a 30-year-old, I found this bag in the, the attic or whatever, in the shed, I think it was. And it was full of spiders and rat poo, and like, it was pretty feral. And so I took it to the tip, and I have this memory burnt into my retinas of like, as I threw the bag over the edge into the landfill, I saw their little faces sort of exposed as the bag opened, and they were all looking up at me as they fell down into the dump.
Oh my God. And that is literally out of a Hoarders show I watched recently.
But like, it's so easy in that moment to just like throw stuff away and very quickly erase any sort of guilt or, yeah, it's too easy. It's too easy. And sometimes the harder,
I
the
totally
more
agree.
responsible thing can be sit on all your printer poop for years and
Right.
do something with that resource.
No, I have an incredibly hard time just throwing things away of any type. Like it is, I feel immense guilt and part of that's like, you know, you chose to buy it in the first place, and did you really consider the utility of it when you bought it? Like the longevity, the life, and part of why, as making things, like a family member, we got the second bamboo at home, and I was showing them how it works. I was like, oh, it's a pretty sweet machine. Like they really changed the game, and they know me well enough. My wife's sitting there too. They're like, don't you feel bad about printing plastic things? And I was like, yes, I feel terrible. And I moved past that to some degree, but like I told them my two solaces are like some of it's recyclable, which is not really true, or it's not very well recycled, and especially where it goes. And the other is the industry is probably going to make these things as injection molded parts, and those are going to be far more wasteful because injection molding is like incredibly, like there's all this waste at the beginning, there's waste at the end, there's like way too many overproduced items in the first place, whereas we have like 9 extra dust boot parts right now. Like there's very little like waste. And that's the only way I can convince myself, other than trying to find improvements in that process that's more recyclable or more sustainable. But yeah, that is one weird thing that's nice about machining metal. While it takes an immense amount of energy to get metal to your place and to machine it and to recycle it, it's like infinitely recycled, like aluminum wise. So that feels nice, at least. But same with the wood stuff, right? Like it's not very sustainable either.
No, making widgets isn't. Yeah, I've often pondered about the economics, or kind of the economics, or the sort of resourcefulness of things. Like imagine if everyone had a printer and are printing their own widgets, would that outweigh? Yeah, I know. There's obviously huge efficiencies in something like injection molding too, right? Because once you're producing millions of parts, if those widgets are going out and being legitimately used, and they're not sort of being overproduced and stockpiled and forgotten in a warehouse, then if they're going out into the world, then each one of those little widgets has less embodied energy than Justin on his printer misprinting 5 widgets to get to the one widget that he needs.
Does it? Maybe
I don't know.
It does, I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know how to analyze that. But no, the thing, I have examples of my own from that, which I think we should probably change topics after. The laptop stand we made in 2011, I think their last run of them was something like 12 or 13 or 14, I forget. Mm-hmm. And I still have like well over 1,000 sets. And we made like the bare minimum we could make. I think it was 2,400 sets or something.
What?
And, that says something about sales. They've slowed down. Laptops have changed. It's not as useful as a product as it used to be. However, like I still have boxes and boxes of them.
Yeah, wow.
Because of injection molding, right? Like, and that happens on an industrial scale of like, you make 50,000. Like, you get those little things on Amazon where it's like 10,000 of these have sold this month, and you're like, oh my god, what? Like just this one baby toy, like, and you think about like how many maybe had defects and went to the landfill. There's just it's an immense thing. So I don't know. It's not very hopeful looking, but maybe we switch to what are some of your plans for 24?
Cool. Look, I think I could chat about lots of different things, but the key plans for 2024 for me as a business owner, maker, whatever I am, is
business maker,
being more assertive, and guiding the company to where I want it to be and where I think it needs to go. And less passive, less sort of sitting back, hoping that it goes the right way. Also less trustful of the process and that it will all work out, and actively working the process so it does work out. Came up with a term the other day when I was doing some notes of strategic impatience. I was kind of reflecting on how passive I can be. I was like, no, I need to get more impatient at work, in a work context. I need to get more impatient. At home, I need to become more patient with my children. But at work, I need to become impatient, but in a strategic, conscious way of like, cool, what things need to just change and move now, and then assertively making that happen. That sums up my thinking of where to next.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. What about you? What's your top thing moving forward?
I don't think I've given enough thought to this yet, but my first thought is probably been the same for many years, but I think the focus has to be put this year with having a baby. And just, I mean, like today, it's like I just got to work at 11, right? Like it's amazing how
awesome.
I'm all for this like European style 6-month paternity leave coming to America, which isn't going to happen anytime soon. But I think it is just unloading the things that I do to more people. We need to hire, I think I'd like to hire at least 2 people this year, the operations person and a to be decided second person. I wish I could nail positions down to like, you do marketing, you do, but it still feels like we need like unicorn people. I'm not sure if it takes 6 or 8 people before they start to really split apart tasks better. But I mean, thankfully we've moved in ways that maybe the economy did too, or whatever happened, you know, the products have been successful, and that leads me to like planning for how do you expand that? What do we offer next? So like I was talking about, my goal is always looking for unique products that we can design and make that have the quote unquote unfair advantage, or something that's unique enough that isn't immediately copyable again. And I haven't heard that noise in a while. And the second part being, what are things that complement that well product wise? And, you know, we've been sourcing some of those things, and that's going to play a huge role, I think, for us this year with additional products. But I need somebody to help manage the business as well as like probably sales. That's probably the other factor, is like somebody that does kind of a sales role. And then somewhere in there is probably a more production staff, but it's not diversification. What is the thing when you hand off tasks? I can't remember the name.
Delegation.
Delegation. That's it. Delegation, which requires the people to be actually delegated to. That's what it feels like at the moment. I feel like we're doing well, you know, feels good. People mentor keeps saying things that are very positive about like kind of, I didn't expect this to happen, but I'm glad you're at this point. And
have you done the E-Myth org chart thing where you write yourself into all the roles and then kind of map it?
10 years ago when I had a different business. No, that's a good point. I should do that.
Yeah, I reckon you should.
I mean, I kind of continuously do that without their brand overlay of it, or I'll like make tasks. Here's all the things I'm doing. Who should do these things, or how can I split them out? Yeah. But I should look at it more specifically.
Yeah, more holistically of like, projecting forward to the 8-10 person version of PDX and what that structure would be, and then writing yourself into all those roles. But I think it is a useful exercise. Particularly, I suppose I hear myself in you describing what you think you need. I want an operations person, and I don't quite know what the other person would be. Like, I've been there, right. I'm probably there now in different ways, like just not being particularly clear on what the gaps are. And I think that can be tricky to hire for if you're not quite sure.
But interesting is in trying to narrow those things down, though, at times, like even with the operations person, I had originally thought, we need somebody that's part-time. I just didn't think that, for financial reasons as well as like role of things. And what was interesting of that person not having traditional making or shop experience, kind of just ran out of stuff to do a couple times a week, which is a weird feeling. And like, so we would get proactive about like, well, work on these projects. So it worked out, but it was like that kind of person, in times it would be nice. I guess you can train for that. We were planning on training like how to run the router and stuff like that. So it's like you can have the diversification of skills that's useful, but also I just feel like at our scale of business, sometimes that specificity, unless we grow a lot quickly, like it's hard for me to imagine somebody that only does sales having enough to do, or like,
Oh, no, absolutely. And I think you still, like, the person that you hire still has multiple roles. Like, that's the thing with the E-Myth org chart, right? Like, the same person has their name in multiple slots until such point that the scale deems that unnecessary. I think
Right.
you hire, like, you can still hire a unicorn, but
you find unicorns.
train a unicorn, but like, I think it's just about attitude and a desire to improve and learn and grow. Like, if someone has that,
Sure.
then you can make yourself a unicorn. You can print a unicorn pretty effectively.
I should do that.
Yeah. Multicolor.
Multicolor unicorn. Yeah.
Something that
I got a totally different thought.
No,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to finish that. Something that my business coach says to me is kind of like, identify like where your levers are. Like, what are the what are the core activities that I can do that will pull the levers to make us go forward? Like,
Right.
don't just
Yeah.
try and do it all. Stop and think about like which bits of the business, where can I make X amount of effort and have a leveraged result
Right.
for progress, which is hard to do because you just get bogged down in the day-to-day of like, what's next on the list.
Sure. Absolutely. All right.
What are you going to say?
My completely different thought. Do you have a business intentionality or like something you talk about, or a personal thought on things like, do you run CNC machines till the wheels fall off, or do you renew them proactively? Do you do it for tax reasons? There's a huge tax incentive in America called Section 179, where you get giant tax benefits if you buy machines
Yeah, wow.
for your business. Basically gets tax deduced twice. So you get the full benefit on the year of, and then it gets depreciated over time too, which is wild.
Wow.
So you're kind of stupid not to, honestly, in a certain way, if it reduces your tax liability and you're getting new equipment, right? So I am mostly just posing it as a question. I'm not in the position to buy machines at the moment, but curious what your thoughts, or if this is something you think about.
It's really not. I don't have any impulse to upgrade CNC machines because I don't see them as a bottleneck. Maybe one day I will, but for now they're one of the bits of the business that flow the most easily and efficiently. There's more capacity in what we already have, and we don't use them to their full capacity, like ability. I think the only machine that I can think of that's an exception to that. There's two pieces of equipment out there which I would consider upgrading if we had the sort of the cash flow and capital to do it, which we don't. Would be upgrading the wide belt sander to something that's a bit more fancy, like vacuum hold down within the machine.
Whoa.
And maybe a triple head machine, just to deal with like the inconsistencies of hoop pine, which isn't particularly flat, and we use a lot of it now. It's our primary material. And the other thing would be the spray booth. The spray booth is a bottleneck, and having a bigger one would help. That would make the boat go faster. And we can do little things to improve that in terms of we could move it, we could reposition it, turn it 90 degrees so it's more accessible. And they're the types of things that we'll do in the interim. But I can certainly, if capital wasn't an issue, I would either put in a second spray booth or something that's sort of twice as big to try and reduce that bottleneck.
Interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, if that's not done proactively, will it reduce your capacity next year to the point where like you have to do it, or
No, I don't think so.
will you not notice it for too long that you're like just losing revenue and you don't realize it, kind of thing? Because we can't produce anymore, but really you've pinched yourself.
I think
or
we
something.
can be smarter about it in terms of how it's scheduled. Like it's running for a significant proportion of the week, but I think we can get a lot more intelligent about how we push stuff through it. Like simple things. We have a lead machinist now whose job it is to run the CNC machines. We could look at having a finisher someone whose job it is to
Right.
operate that spray booth as a machine and keep it efficient and productive throughout the week. And, there's a reason businesses have people in roles like that. Whereas we still operate on a model where there's, 3 or 4 people jumping in and out of the spray booth on different projects. And it's not like we have all the parts pushed up, waiting in like the inbox of the spray booth, like go, 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 go. I think if we did that, we wouldn't have a capacity issue. So I think it's more about production planning and management than it is about that. It's easy to look at the equipment and go, oh, it's not big enough, there's not enough capacity. But I think we can be a lot smarter about it and with the resources that we have. Yeah. And it's the same thing, like, oh, you guys operate on a 4-day week, what a waste of machine time and resources and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but if we need that capacity, we can, still have people working a 4-day week, but, split the week. So some people work Tuesday to Friday and some people work Monday to Thursday. And then I don't know. There's ways and means, and we need to get smarter on that. And I suppose coming back to my point, I need to get more assertive about ensuring that these things happen. Get impatient.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. I can't think of anything to answer my own question that would, like, machine-wise, I mean, I consider new routers, in which case they would be pretty sizable changes. I mean, the biggest desire I have in the mill department is memory, which leads me to question whether it makes sense to upgrade just the memory at many $2 signs for the machine or not. But I was also thinking yesterday, as I was continuing to comment or go back and forth with Omtech about the stupid laser cutter, and finally I think we got to the point of it being a bad sensor, which I found on Amazon for $5 and should arrive tomorrow, so hopefully that's fixed. And then I got the printer at work to print somewhat reliably again because it had been slamming into itself, and the one at home clogged, and I was like, these fucking machines. And I think I was driving home thinking, like, you know what? The damn 2015 mill never has problems. For as much as I bitch about Fanuc and like the tiny memory, like, kind of runs, doesn't really care. It's speedy still, like, it's making parts just fine. They're super accurate. Like, probably should just keep rolling with it. So I was working on getting that ChatterSync thing yesterday. I actually printed an enclosure and got magnets on it, and
cool.
We had it working as like just a bare chip floating around the shop, and it wasn't plugged in at the time, and like got to set up the little thing in VS Code so you can actually use it. But a lot of those little things I think there's a lot of that I'd like to get tidied up. There's a lot of little projects.
Yeah, that's a cool little thing. I was thinking about those little boxes yesterday when John and I were problem solving something on the pencil sharpener, and I was watching him move the USB stick back and forth between the laptop to make little code changes. And I was like, that's right. Those little Chatterbox widgets, because it just simulates a USB drive, doesn't it? But you can manage it wirelessly. Can I buy them?
I forget the total. I think it was $30. The CNC repair guy was going to be selling them, but I think it was $30 in materials.
It's the chatter.dev mob, isn't it? But they don't have products.
Yeah. No, they're offering the software for free, but
cool. Yeah.
I mean, if you need the parts sourced, I can send them to you.
Thanks. I'll have a look. So yeah, like that.
And I remember that
that's lean to me, is like identifying waste time, movement, and just going, cool, what's the $30 fix or whatever it is. Like,
right. I don't remember. I'm looking at this website at the moment. We'll have to look in a bit. Yeah. We have a list of like thoughts about what we want to do next year product wise and different improvements. And so we're still kind of going through that. But I think the other list I need to make is just like, it's an endless list, but I think you make a list like this and you tidy through it, and then you have to make the list again where it's like, oh, the shipping area is too constrained. We need to fix the outflow. Where do those packages go? Right now they're going on a box, Does it make sense for the post to pick up? Like, and some of those have been fixed. Like we had some problems there. It's been cleaned up. We still have way too many 3D printer filament rolls floating about that don't have a home.
I think that's just how they live. They just float around. It's how they want to be in the world.
We should just put the printers on them.
I really enjoyed on a recent episode of the Bomb Johns, Saunders chat about like, this morning I'm gonna spend 3 hours on this section of the shop and just improve that. And I really related to that. Like I think it's fantastic that we do these lean days and we include the whole team in that process. But as the business owner and sort of leader, I think it's really important. Again, back to the assertive sort of initiative thing of just like, I love that idea that Saunders was talking about of like, no, I'm just going to focus for 3 hours and I'm going to make this section of the shop better. And yes, I will talk to the team that use that area or those tools and include them in some of that decision-making process. But I'm just going to be, put the blinkers on and just get shit done. And that really resonated with me.
For sure. Absolutely.
Mm.
Okay, I have another question for you. I think when we started this, we were pretty beneficial to each other, checking our progress on products and goals. And
accountability.
I'm curious whether you intend or think you will be creating new things again, or at least advancing your product lines, that are existing. Like, is that something you're planning next year? I know you've been moving away from the custom work a little bit, but not entirely.
Yes, it would. I think if I had to put another 2024 goal down on paper today, it would be find a way back on the tools. And back on the tools for me means product dev and tinker time and play time to move those product ranges forward, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. I need to find a way of doing that.
Fire yourself.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I need to solve sales so that I'm no longer essential in that. Solve it, stabilize it, so I'm no longer essential as part of that process. And get my tinker time back, because that's what I want to be doing. Really, ultimately, is noodling around, making new things on machines. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the alternate to that of like, if we go back to the machine purchases and all those thoughts, it's like, I don't know what machines are necessitating that tinkering. I think 3D printing has turned into a good device for you. But is it like a hobby style, like a tool room mill or like a hobby machine that you can, I don't know what you're thinking of making, I suppose. It's probably always necessitating the full scale router or something, but specifically time or the access to the tools that holds you back from that?
Look, it's easy to make the excuse that it's access to the tools, but I think I can quash that pretty easily. Like, I don't think that's very valid. It is just an excuse. And, I love the fact that I have this big workshop full of equipment. I feel pretty lucky to have gotten to that point. And it would seem crazy in many ways to go out and spend more money on more machines just to like justify my tinker time, because I was like, they need to stay in production mode. It's like, no, that's bullshit. I just need to restructure my time and my week and prioritize that time. Yeah, use the resources I have already. Yeah, like, that's one half of my brain. The other half of my brain is like, what could I do with $100,000? Like, absolutely, I'd set up a little tool room tinker lab.
I'm talking about like $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah.
Like a Bantam Tools mill, or like, the Langmuir press brake, or like I don't know what you're missing or what you're looking to progress on, but
I've been thinking about a pocket-sized pencil sharpener pretty seriously.
Like a manual one?
No, a benchtop.
Oh, wait.
Benchtop pencil sharpener.
You're talking about for your products.
Yeah, CNC.
Not a damn pencil.
Not a real pencil.
Got me.
Got you.
I got one right here for you.
No, thanks.
Sharpen my pencil, please.
Yeah.
I was like, Jim, they have those. There's a lot of those out there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Things and stuff.
How those brass ones you made as a little side, is that hard? That looked really challenging to make. The brass covered. Is it a film?
No, it's
real brass.
Brass tube with timber inserts glued into each end with the machine features.
Oh, that makes it
make
way more sense. I thought you somehow fit brass around, I don't know why I thought that, around timber.
To be honest, that's how I imagined it would work when I spec'd into that job. And then someone intelligent on the team was like, why don't we just put the timber on the ends? It's like, great. That's what I pay you for.
No,
Good
it's
ideas
too easy.
like that. No,
We're not
I
going to
want
make
you to-
enough money on that.
Yeah, no, they're beautiful. They worked out really well. Pretty cool.
Right.
We don't need
Cool.
Tim
Very nice.
Medall anymore. We're just gonna start buying brass, everything.
Hey,
We only need a little bit
brass.
of timber.
I just quoted 2 jobs in brass, and my lord, has that gone up in price.
Oh yeah, hasn't it? Wild.
Also, I'm going to talk about price changes. Soft jobs for like mills, like you
Yeah.
buy the little things that you machine into.
Yeah.
Bought some on McMaster in 2022, and we bought the mill with our 6-inch vise. They were $23 for a pair, just 60-61. Basically, they have 2 holes and they're flat on all sides.
Yep.
2 pieces. I just looked at them again. They're $55
Wow.
since 2022.
Wild.
And that feels insane for those parts. And I can we'll probably be making them or finding them somewhere else because that is
Yeah.
probably not smart for me to make them, but like I'll make a couple and save half the amount of money. Anyway.
Cool. Well, we're coming up close to an hour, my good sir,
Ooh.
and we don't want that to happen.
Any last minute thoughts?
Any final words? No.
Get them in.
Get 'em quick. No.
Yeah. Look at
Yeah.
Cam, I guess. As we were talking.
Ooh.
It is hefty.
That looks hefty and cute. Look at that beautiful.
It gets a little less
XLR
impressive
car.
when you pull. It's just like
Still cool.
welded pieces of metal.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it'll be nice. We'll see. It's more compact.
Look forward to your rich vocal tones in 2024, good sir.
Maybe people will say, "Oh, listen to that American guy," like they say, "Listen to that Australian guy."
Oh, daddy. How's it going, daddy? It's not me. He's falsifying my voice. Daddy.
Got 3 of them now.
Yeah, 3. Good.
A
Well,
little loud. That one piqued my ears.
final 2024 goal will be get my buttons back in the studio so I can compete
Ooh.
on samples once again.
Jim needs buttons. Gotta compare. I'm sure turn this into a stream of gaming.
Twitch
Okay.
next year. Well, Happy New Year.
Right. Happy New Year.
Congratulations on
Probably be back.
being a daddy.
Yeah. Thank you. You too. On
Congratulations
being a daddy of 2.
Yeah. Well done.
I never told you about the first 2. You never meet people and you're like, "Oh, congrats, you have kids." I'm assuming we'll take a couple weeks off with the holidays, so there will be a secret show out in that time period, though. So
Beautiful.
if you want to get that, go to the Patreon. It's always linked in the show notes.
Get on it.
We have a minute left. We gotta go.
Hey, bye, quick. See ya.
Bye. Bye.